Welcome to our new show, Keeping It Real with Relationships.
Where we'll be talking about real topics we all face in relationships, such as identity, commitment, sex and celibacy, and heartbreak.
Keeping it real.
So I'm Sakal.
And I'm Sandeep.
On today's show, we'll be looking at identity and how one can really know themselves and why it's important.
Yes, so we'll have some special guests here talking to us about who they are and what makes up their identity. But I've got a question for you.
What's that?
Can you really know about yourself?
I think you can. It really depends. It's 50-50 because we're always changing, always growing.
Very
There we
true.
are.
Very true.
Well, Sandeep and I went out to find out a bit more about ourselves and each other through taking some tests.
So let's go check it out. Today, Sakal and I will be doing our two tests, the 16 personality test and the 5 love language test.
So these tests are going to allow us to learn a little bit more about our identity, allow us to be a bit more aware of ourselves. It's the first time we've done it, so we're going to give it a go. So let's try it and see. Okay. The 16 personalities test was designed to categorise us with percentages in areas such as the mind, energy, nature, tactics, and identity. Within these categories lies qualities such as introvert and extrovert, observant and intuitive, thinking, feeling, judging, prospecting, and finally assertive or turbulent. It gives you a percentage for each quality, which results in telling you your personality type from your results, hence the name 16 personalities.
I got 95% extroverted, 5% introverted.
Yeah.
I like people.
In terms of my energy, I'm 62% intuitive and 38% observant. I'm very observant. What do you mean?
So now we're going to do the 5 love language test.
So let's get cracking.
5 love language test is designed to help you understand yourself and the ways in which you best receive love based on 5 categories such as words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, receiving gifts and physical touch. In doing this test, you can find out how you receive love and how your partner best receives love in order to give your relationship the best chance of surviving. So again, if you want to take part in either of those tests, then head to our website Real with Relationships and click the link to the tests online.
Now let's go and see what our guests had to say about identity when Sandeep interviewed them.
Hello, so I'm joined on the couch today by James and Marshall, who are going to be talking to us about identity. So guys, thank you for being here with us today. So my first thing I want to say is that I found a definition on Google about identity and it says, I don't know if this makes sense to you, the fact of being who or what a person or thing is. So that is what identity is. So how important do you think it is to know your own identity? To know the fact of who you are?
I think it's very important to know who you are as a person because you're able to function properly within the context of an environment, a society, or even a relationship. And, if you lack a knowledge of yourself, you're going to be extremely dysfunctional. I think a lack of identity sometimes, most time breeds insecurity and fear in people. So when you're very fearful, you're not going to be very functional within a relationship or in society. Say you're good at singing and you have a low self-image of yourself, you're not going to be able to bring out that talent because you're afraid of who you are, and you're not going to be able to function as you're meant to function.
Oh, that's deep. James, try and beat that.
What
do you think?
I agree completely with that, and that's my answer. No, I feel like that is very true, and there's also, it's very subject to change, and in society we're always changing, always developing, and whatever life throws at us, we take that on board on our identity and we develop that, as well as we should really try and know ourselves before we do go into the do stuff, because it's about feeling confident with ourselves.
Yeah, so there's a thing of like experiences that we go to, people we meet, these kind of things can like shape our identities and make us up. So it's always a changing process then, right?
I believe it's a process of change, mainly because if I can use like a mathematical way of describing this, human beings are variables. We are constantly changing as we acquire new information, new ideologies, which shape our thinking. We change. So the person I was 5 years ago is different to the person I am today because I've gained knowledge, I've become wiser. So as a result of this, I've gained a better perspective of myself. So identity is a process. So knowing yourself is a process, essentially. That's what I think.
So in regards to relationships, how important is it to know yourself before going into a relationship? So James, you're with your girlfriend now, but what was it like for you before that? Like what was that process of, like that time of you being single? What was it like for you then?
Yeah, I mean, before I got into a relationship, I kind of was in a, whether I wanted to be in one or not, or if I wanted to just be alone and to be single and have no like sort of connections there. But I found that as I got to know the person more and I developed a relationship in friendship, I really wanted to develop, and well, I wanted to develop a real relationship, to share stuff with my girlfriend and to then become official. And I think it's developed my personality a lot because I feel something for my girlfriend that I've never felt before, which is like really big for me because I'd never had a relationship before my girlfriend now. So it really helped me to realise what I wanted in life. And sometimes you may be lost with your identity, but you always find it eventually. And I think identity is so big and it always changes, and it changes who you are over time. I know for a fact I was different years ago to how I am now, and it's like how you interact with society and how you build yourself personally. I've found that I've got to know him loads and I'm really happy, and it's helped me to develop into this nice like situation that I'm in, and I'm really grateful that it happened. And she's amazing, so it's really nice that it did happen.
He's love struck everybody. So before that though, what was it like for you finding yourself and being alone in that?
Oh yeah, it was very tough actually, because there was some things, certain pressures in society. I feel like if going out in clubbing and stuff, there's so much pressure on you to do this, do that, drink this, drink that. I feel like stepping back from that and then going on dates and stuff really helped me to figure out that it's not all about just getting drunk and stuff. It's about like doing stuff you enjoy.
Yeah, because I've had so many like conversations with people, and they talk about the whole culture of like going out finding a girl, but a lot of guys I've spoken to call it the game. And I'm like, what is this game that they play? And it's so hard to figure it out because it's almost like a maze to get a girl, and they have to do X, Y, Z and be like, can't talk to her yet, got to leave it a few days. And there seems like so much pressure, and it's that thing from society. You can feel a lot of pressure to be like, oh, this is how you do it. This is how society's telling you have to pursue a girl or a guy or whatever. Like for girls when they're pursuing guys and stuff. But so I guess to flip that question on its head though, if you're in a relationship, how easy do you think it is to get absorbed on the other person so that you then actually forget about your own identity? How easy do you think that is for us now?
Well, if you're like James, who's quite love-struck, then you're going to be very blinded, so to speak. But no, it depends. James. But I think generally, when you're not stable as a person, how can I put it? If you're double-minded, so to speak, you're going to make very irrational decisions within the relationship. So I think if you don't have, if you're not stable as a person, if you're not firm and grounded in your identity as a person, then I think as the various elements and challenges within a relationship come along, you are going to lose an identity of who you are as a person, and then you're going to focus your gaze on the other person and lose who you are as a person. So I think it's very important to be very grounded in your identity.
Yeah, and like in a relationship, sometimes we can only focus on the good aspects of a person and think, oh, that's amazing. But how important do you think it is to actually look at the brokenness of people, or actually some things that we need to work on as well, and actually value those? What do you think?
I think it's very important to get a very clear and unbiased perspective of a person. So you're not only looking at the positive qualities of that person, but you're also going to look at the negative qualities and not put makeup on it, and then try as much as possible to love that person. And I think in reference to that, I think before you can love the brokenness of another person, you need to be able to love the brokenness within yourself as a person. If I can quote Jesus, the second greatest commandment he gave to people was, love your neighbor as you love yourself. Now, loving yourself sometimes can be difficult because you understand that you're a very imperfect person. You sometimes do bad things, you sometimes do schizophrenic things, and you have to live with that.
Yeah.
And if you're able to love yourself as a person, not only the good qualities, but also your negative dark side,
Yeah.
and accept that, and
Yeah.
not just stay there, but also change. And then if you're able to accept that as a person within yourself, you're better able to love other people who are broken as well.
Because you can relate more, can't you?
Absolutely.
If someone's going through something that's tough and maybe you've been in it yourself, you think, let me help you in that.
Exactly. I've
And
walked
when-
that path,
yeah.
so I know what it's like.
I see.
Exactly.
And do you know what there's a comfort in that you know that you're not alone in your brokenness.
Absolutely.
And that makes up your identity because, I mean, as humans, we're so relational. We want to be around people, but we also need to understand ourselves. But it's nice when you have someone who can help you in your brokenness or help you in something that you found tough. And that makes up your identity because you can actually like help yourself by letting others help you. It's almost like opening yourself up and saying, okay, I'm going to be vulnerable. It's not quite nice, but I know that in the long run it's going to be better for me because I can work past this, get a better identity and find out what I'm doing and how you can move on from it as well and stuff like that. So that's always good. Okay, social media, because this is such a big thing in our generation, it's crazy. But how do you think social media influences our identities?
Yeah, I think it's a huge part of everyone's life. We're in like a little bubble nowadays where we're always on our phone, always on our laptop, always on Facebook, Twitter, whatever. I feel like sometimes we make a different persona of our identity maybe online, and we post stuff that makes us look a bit happier than we are, or maybe a bit better than we're doing, maybe, I don't know. But I feel like it sort of changes our identity a little bit of who we actually are, but we should always try and stay true to ourselves and post stuff that helps helps people online rather than just I'm doing amazing.
It all being about yourself and like, oh, what
exactly.
I'm doing.
Like likes and favourites and stuff is retweets is just too.
Because some people actually base their kind of popularity and stuff, not popularity, but kind of base their own value on how many likes they have, how many followers they have.
Absolutely.
I mean, is that a sustainable thing to do? What do you think?
It's not sustainable at all because, you know, if you don't get that attention that you're anticipating, then you're going to be extremely disappointed. So you can't really base your identity on, you know, what people think of you on social media. But I think the inherent problem within social media, if I can quote one of my favorite philosophers,
Go on.
King Solomon, he say that for every great work, a man is envied by his neighbor. Essentially meaning that, you know, as human beings, when we see someone doing very well for themselves, we want to become like that or better than that. So as a result, within the context of social media, when you see people having a great time, you know, posting up Snapchats of themselves having a good time or posting pictures on Facebook, you want to live that life as well.
Yeah.
And you try to repeat that. You know, you try to do what they're doing or do it even better.
Yeah.
So it's a cycle which is always changing. So if you base your identity on social media, then you're always going to be broken as a person because, you know, there'll always be better people than yourselves.
Competition, isn't
Exactly.
it?
So they're always greater people than yourselves and lesser people. So you just have to find where you fit in.
And I guess in that, the standard at which you're comparing yourself is to someone else who will struggle and still, you know, find things hard just like you do, but they won't show it. And so it's almost like a false standard, isn't it? Because you're not seeing the real them.
Absolutely.
Whereas this is all about keeping it real.
Exactly.
And you guys have kept it real, so thank you very much for that. So thank you for joining us today. You've been really inspirational, actually. I like your quotes. They're very good. So yeah, get us on social media, guys. We want to hear from you. Who are you? What's your identity like? How would you describe yourself? How would you define yourself? So let the conversation keep going. And we'll see you pretty soon.
So it was actually really interesting, that interview was, because we kind of came to the conclusion of how it's important to know your identity before, during and after a relationship, but also how your identity can it can progress as your relationship progresses. Naturally you'll pick up new skills and stuff. Like if you then go on to move in together or get married or have kids, naturally your identity would change and fit into those roles.
Yeah.
Which was quite interesting.
I think it's interesting as well what I kind of picked up from that. I think it's very important that when you're actually in a relationship that you maintain your identity and your true self.
Yeah.
And be true to who you are. Because, for example, if a relationship ends up on a bad in a bad way,
Yeah.
or one person's more the dominant character, you can lose yourself. So it's
Yeah.
important not to do that, really.
Yeah. So now, guys, to give you a bit of inspiration, we've got a quote for you that we're going to show you right now.
Thanks for watching. So catch us up on our next episode where we'll be talking all about commitment.
And join in on our online discussions, and be sure to check out our website realwithrelationships.com to keep updated with all the latest episodes.
Keeping it real.